Yeah, good afternoon all. Am I audible properly?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you can ask. This is like kind of open session regarding week 5. Of week 5, you can ask any doubts regarding week 5 first. Okay.
Ma'am, not related to week five. I'm generally struggling with so many rules around Java. There are classes, there are abstract classes, there are interfaces. Then sometimes we declare default. Now, remembering all of those is becoming challenging. My quiz one went decently well. I'm not denying that. But I mean, are we expected in real life to remember so much? And if we are, then how do we get over it? Like, I'm really struggling with remembering so many things about Java.
Yeah, for the beginners, it's kind of like syntax. Yeah, it is difficult to remember syntax. Yeah, but yeah, you should remember some syntax to write any language. No, that is necessary. Uh, yeah, that is necessary. Yeah, you
Nalini,
get to.
yeah, shall I just add something to it? Sorry to interrupt. Yeah. So, who was asking Vinod? Is it Vinod?
Yes,
You were
ma'am.
asking. Yeah. So, Vinod, see, I mean, because you have come into this from Python, right? So that's probably why you're finding it like really difficult with all these. I mean, lot of tight syntax, right? I mean, a lot of things which are really bound, and you cannot move either this side or that side, kind of, right? The flexibility is very less. But see, eventually, when you code, like by the end of maybe 7th or 8th week, like the idea is please code as much as is possible, like even for graded assignment or practice. Every time you learn something. So the questions that we have tried to prepare is kind of addressing on kind of corner cases, and in general, the idea is to learn about the object-oriented concept. So as long as you understand that is this inheritance and multiple inheritance is not permitted, but it is somehow doable using interfaces and all those things are understood. At some point, even for some of us here, right, the instructor team also, it's not quite like everything is not like we don't know by heart. We kind of go back and check and do the coding, so that's acceptable. But yeah, so certain things that we ask in the exams, if your concept is clear, and as long as you know what an interface is, what an abstract class is, you should be able to answer. That's the kind of questions that we have tried to come up with. Of course, there will be some amount of Java syntax testing also, which is a little bit of involved, but that is not the main purpose. Unless you understand like the so the parent variable can refer to a child object and all those things, right? This we have been keeping on insisting, so there would have been questions based on that. So there you don't need to by heart anything, right? You just need to know like this is accepted and these methods, okay, it's checking whether these methods are available during runtime, sorry, compile time, and during runtime it picks which method to. So these terminologies might be a little overwhelming, but at some point if you understand the concepts, it should be doable. Initial 4 weeks definitely it will be a struggle, no? Especially for a new person who's working on Java.
Got it,
So
ma'am.
practice. That will be one key.
Okay, ma'am, any website where we can practice any recommended, like there's a hacker rank, I believe there's a lead code. I don't know where I can go and practice these more of Java.
So do you try out all the questions that we give in the assignments? I'm
No,
not talking about the practice, means the coding questions. I'm talking about even the other questions.
no, ma'am. Week 3 and week 4, there was some. There's a medical issue in the family. It's been ongoing for a year now. So I week 3 and week 4 I had to skip, and then I had to go through slides and.
So I would say that should be your first starting point. Like whatever code you are seeing, you try to understand the question, do it, code it yourself, and then you will understand like why it is working that way. That should be a starting point. I guess rather than going out of the course, like people who have finished with all the codes and what that we have provided, then you should probably look outside and try to figure out more. Starting point should be the questions that we have given, especially the programming assignments. And as soon as you're done with it, go to the activity code. Even activity questions, we have whatever small code snippets we have given, no, that will actually give you a lot of practice. And every question you will learn something new is what we are really hoping. Every question there is some slight difference between each other, and at some point you realize, okay, this works and this does not work, kind of, right? So it's kind of, that's the way these have been designed. At least that's what we had in mind when we prepared the questions. So try to write programs on those questions, and eventually at some point you will understand everything, like when we come to the modifiers and things will only get more difficult, right? When we go to the threading, unless you have an operating system concept, threading and concurrency and everything gets more complicated. So whatever is there till now, you write the programs for all the questions that you've given in the activity question, practice question, and all that. And then probably you should, after that, you should look outside.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, first we will take some specific doubts regarding week 5. If there are no doubts from anyone, like we will go through the activity questions like from after 5.3, like from 5.4, and then we'll go to the PQ. Yeah, if you have any specific doubts you can ask, or else I can start activity questions of
Ma'am, I have a doubt in activity 5.5.
okay. We'll go then like lecture by lecture from 5.4, because from till 5.3 it was already done in the previous session.
Okay, ma'am.
Ma'am, Puneet here. May I ask a question conceptually?
Regarding week 5.
Week 5, generics.
Okay.
Ma'am, why do we need generics? We have an existing way of using instance of and then checking the object type and then overriding it.
Yeah, actually the
How does it
benefits,
help?
yeah, the advantages of using the generics is already explained in the previous live session also. Yeah, in the first like
Okay,
in,
I'll
yeah,
check it out. I'll check.
in the previous live session, like, okay.
Nalini, I think we can start off with the 5.4, right?
Yeah, yes, ma'am, I'm doing that.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
So which of the following classes is not a predefined class in Java? So class, object, thread, and method all are predefined classes. Okay, in the 5.5 itself, you are using you are like, you must be familiar with the class and method also. Yeah, object and thread, these the object also, thread will be coming in the later weeks of this course. Thread is also a predefined class in Java. Okay. Yeah, if anyone has any doubt, you can stop me in the middle, then yeah, we'll see that. Okay. Yeah, here so computer 1 is now object of computer, and computer 2 is the object of laptop, and computer 1 dot get class, we are checking whether if both the classes are same.
Ma'am, we can't
So
see the screen. Are you sharing?
yeah, I'm sharing. Is it not visible for others also?
It is visible, ma'am.
It is
Visible, ma'am. Visible, ma'am.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So actually what does the get class method will give? It will give the class name for that particular class, for that, but see, computer dot get class, it will give the class name for that particular object. So here computer 1 dot get class will give the computer as class. So here get class, it will return computer, as this is an object of computer class, and laptop dot get class, this is laptop is, see, this is a laptop. No, laptop is an object of laptop only, so it will also will give laptop as output, because it is an object of laptop. Here, okay, I think I should erase this. Here what we are doing, here laptop, here computer 2 is object of laptop, and we are this here the object, here computer 2 is an object of laptop, this is object of laptop because new laptop we are using, so that is an object of laptop. Here laptop reference variable laptop we are using, and we are typecasting, what we are assigning it to computer 2. So that means here computer, here you have computer 2, it is computer 2, this is computer 2, it is referring to laptop object, this is laptop object. and you have laptop instance variable that you are making it to. So both of them are pointing it to this laptop object only, because you are saying laptop equal to computer 2, no? So that means you are assigning whatever the computer 2 is storing, you are assigning the same value to this laptop. That means they are like they are storing these both are storing the same object, but you are giving the different what names. They are referring to the same memory location. Laptop and computer 2 are referring to the same memory location, that is they are storing the laptop object. So this is like here laptop.get class also, it will give laptop as output, because since it is an object of laptop. So whether both these are equal or not, so computer one dot get class will give computer and laptop dot get class will give laptop. These, as these both are not same, you will go to the else part. So both are not equal, you will execute, right? So I think this is like one way of teaching, no? So yeah, I will just show the question, you try to answer.
Ma'am, I
If
have a
something is,
question.
yeah, okay.
Ma'am, so in line number 2 and 3 inside the function, so computer 2 was already a laptop object. Then why did I typecast it again and assign it to another laptop
So
object?
which, so you are asking here which line, can you tell the line? Sorry.
Yes, so in line number 2, computer 2 is equal to new laptop.
Okay, okay.
Computer 2 is already a laptop object, and then in the next line I'm typecasting it again to a laptop object and assigning it into a laptop variable. Is it?
Okay, okay. What is the type of this computer 2? What is the static type of this computer 2? Like static type means what? Like what?
Computer.
Computer, no? It's its
Oh,
static type is computer, but it's like the object is of type laptop,
laptop.
right?
Okay.
Yeah, but its static type is computer. Here, what is the type of laptop? It is laptop, right? What is the
Okay.
type of
Okay.
laptop? It's laptop. So laptop is a subclass. You cannot store parent class thing here, no? Parent parent class reference here. So you are typecasting it to laptop and then you are storing it. Okay. Then you are assigning it. See,
Okay,
see.
ma'am. I'm not able to understand.
Okay, okay.
Actually, the
Tell.
question is why that laptop in the bracket is the question. That is little difficult to understand.
Yeah, yeah. So see here, computer 2 is of type computer, no?
Computer. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, laptop is of type laptop.
Yes,
Correct?
ma'am.
So what you are doing, so if you say simply laptop equal to this is laptop equal to computer 2, then
Then I'm trying to
yeah,
assign a
so what is
computer
its
object.
type? Computer type, no?
Yes.
So this is, so let's say here, okay, let's say here, okay, I should take something. Okay, I will
But
take
ma'am,
string
is
here.
that even possible?
What?
Can I even typecast to a more specific category, because it
Yeah,
could be
you
that.
can typecast, because since it is an object of laptop, you can do laptop as typecasting. So
Okay.
yeah, because it is an object of laptop, this is like computer 2 is an object of laptop, it works. If you typecast it to some other thing like computer 1 or something, see,
Then
if
it
you,
won't work. No?
yeah, if you try to typecast it to some other type, then it won't work. You are specifically typecasting it to, as it is a laptop object, you are typecasting back it to laptop, it works.
Ma'am, so I would like to understand the utility of keeping it a computer class when it's a laptop object. So, what utility does that serve?
So you are asking why to keep this laptop object in computer class.
Yes, ma'am.
Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
yeah, see, the thing is like so parent class, so you are expecting so parent class can store the child class object also. That is, you, this is like from week 3 itself you are learning this, no? So you
Yes,
can
ma'am.
use parent class reference to store the child class object. That's what. Yeah, utility, since I think Anand sir or Tanya ma'am, do you want to take
Ma'am, so my question is because even if we did not assign it to a computer class, all the methods of computer will still be available to the laptop object.
Yes, yes,
Then
yeah.
why put it in a bigger class? What utility does that serve?
Yeah, this is like
Yeah,
extra
Nalini, I'll
functionality,
just
I can
add.
say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll just add something. See, in this example, it is more for testing your concepts. Okay, so we first assign it to a parent class and then typecast and assign to a child class. But in general, suppose you have, say, a function which is receiving, say, function which is which has a parameter, say, computer C1 has argument. Okay, and it is actually getting a laptop object. And inside the function, again, you want to manipulate a laptop object. Then you have a laptop, say, L equal to typecast it and then get that argument. So this is actually coming in the future weeks. You will actually see one or two examples where this is actually required. This has a practical purpose. Okay. So here for this example, why we have assigned it a parent class and then typecast a child class. This is just for you to understand. See, even when you have a computer1.get class, which is not typecast, but laptop.get class now is a laptop class. Actually, if you say .get class, you will only get a laptop because you've typecast and assigned a laptop variable. Okay. So here, this is only for you to understand the practical purpose, practical utility. We have examples coming up later in the week. Immediately, like maybe I'll just think of something by towards the end of the session. But there are many instances where you will need to say down what do you say that cast it back into a child class to make it more specific and specifically making these methods accessible, the specific method inside the laptop method to be accessible. Even though you have received the variable into the parent object, you want to have some specific methods inside the child class to be accessible. In that cases, you do this kind of a casting.
Yes, ma'am. So one more thing that I need clarity on is that even if I had declared computer simple laptop object.
Computer 2 as laptop object directly is what you're saying, right?
Yes, yes. So if
Yeah,
I
so
had
in
done
case
that,
in case when computer has a two children, okay, laptop and a desktop, okay, and you want to receive, you don't know which object is going to come into that function, say that to that variable argument.
okay,
So you
okay.
have computer C1, then some desktop object may come, some laptop object may come, I don't know. And once it comes inside, if it is a laptop object, I want to do certain functions. If it is a desktop object, I want to do certain functions, right? So I will typecast that variable first into laptop object and run those things if it is a laptop object. Otherwise, I will run it as a desktop object. Got it? No?
Got it. Thank you, ma'am.
Quick question here. Can't I just use is instance of and then run those functions?
Yeah, you can use this instance of function, but you don't know, right, for which class this. So you don't know. You should need to know in advance. No, if you need to write is instance of some class, you should know the class name in advance. But here, it's not required to
No,
know
I
the
think
class
he
name.
was asking about the case which I explained. Is it the method in which it comes as argument? Is it? Srinath, were you referring to that or this case?
Yes, ma'am. I asked about what you were last speaking, the case. The like you said, we don't know whether a laptop is going to come or a desktop is going to come. So can
No. See See, I understand that is checking whether which instance it is. But if you want to access the method inside the laptop specifically, right?
Okay.
So computer actually receives the object, but if you want to access the method inside the laptop, which is not there in computer.
Got it, ma'am. Got it. Yes, ma'am. Got it. Then I'll have to cast it as
laptop back into laptop object or desktop object and access those specific functions.
Right.
Ma'am, one more doubt here. Ma'am, that computer 2 and laptop, they are the different objects or they are pointing to the same object, computer 2 and laptop?
They are pointing to the same object, laptop only.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So answer is both are not equal. A similar question here. Yeah, would anyone like to answer this? So output only. So anyone wants to answer this question? Okay, what does class C1 equal to vehicle1 dot get class will give? What does this will give?
Ma'am, vehicle only.
Vehicle, ma'am.
Okay, it will give vehicle as output. Vehicle. And what does this vehicle2 dot get class will give?
Vehicle only.
Car.
It will give car. No, because the object is of type car. No, because the object here is car. So it will give the car. So get class will give that the object. What is the type of the object which the
But
vehicle
ma'am,
one or
you
vehicle
just
two is referring
typecast.
to? Sorry.
But you just typecast it back to vehicle, no?
Yeah, that doesn't matter, but the object, what is the type of object this vehicle 2 is referring to? It is referring to car object, no? That will get class functionality. The method of the function of this get class method is like to return the type of the
So
type
ma'am,
for the object which is pointing to. Yeah.
I have a question. So if it was instead, new float typecast into int, uh, and x is equal to new float typecast into int, and then if I had asked the type of x again, it will be int, no? Because on the left hand side we are calling it an int.
Yeah, that is primitive, but here the thing is like what object you are referring to. So what is the memory? So here see what is the object here, car object, no? So you have allocated memory for car object, not for vehicle object. That means it will have all the methods which are present in the car, not like it will have some extra methods also, because as it is extending the vehicle, so it will have all the methods of car object. So you have allocated memory for car, not for vehicle, no, here. That's why it will give car as output, because it will
Got
give,
it, got it.
yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, if C1 equal to C2 will return false, so the output, so the control will goes to this, both objects are not equal. So hence the code will generate the output, both objects are not equal. Okay.
Ma'am, can you go to that previous question?
Previous
If I will instead of the second line,
here.
yeah, if I will put the suppose vehicle equals to suppose A, and then we are putting a new car, and then we are going and putting a car inside that we are putting suppose the vehicle 2 equals to typecasting of the vehicle or car, then it is going to be same classes, right? As the previous example.
Yeah, then it's also see you always remember this get class method always return the object name to which you are pointing. So car, new car is referring to car object, no, that so it will give car as output. Okay.
No, but in your previous question also, the
Yeah, in my
computer 2 was referring to laptop only, right?
yeah, computer 2 is referring to laptop only. You are
Right.
checking computer 1 against laptop.
But when you were in the laptop, when you are coming laptop equals to laptop space laptop typecasting laptop, then how it's become to uh, 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 computer object?
So see, I told here, computer 2 is of type laptop, like it is pointing to laptop.
Right.
So
Agree.
laptop is also referring to this laptop only, this laptop object only. So computer 1 dot get class will give computer as output, and laptop dot get class will give laptop as output. So this both won't be same. This will give false as output. So the control will goes to both are not equal. So both are not
Okay,
equal.
okay. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, have anyone watched the lectures, or have you tried these questions? Week 5.4 things. So these are like all these things all are like they are explained in the lectures. What is the functionality of get class, get constructors, get methods? Okay, that's why I'm asking.
I don't think, ma'am. Everybody had quiz on Sunday. No?
Okay, so here see a class C equal to new human dot get class. What does get class get class of method will give? It will give the like name of the class, like name of the class for which the object. See here new human. No, this is the object of human. It will return human as output because we are calling the get class method from human object. No, that's why it will give human as output because this is an object of human and you are checking the type of object for the by using the get class. So it will give human as output and you are storing that all the human this class information in class C. So class C is generally used to store this information by using the, if you use the get class method, it will return the class object as output and that will be stored in the class named class and you are referring by it with by C. Okay, so yeah, and in the next line you can see C dot get constructors. So C dot get constructors method will return what all the constructors which belongs to this class human class and it will return an array of constructor because constructor can be 0 or 1 or many. Generally get constructors method will return array of constructors for that particular class. So human class has how many number of constructors? Human class you can see that's one constructor. No, that is human constructor here. This is a constructor of human. So I think it will be difficult for you to understand now because as you haven't watched the lectures also. So methods c dot get methods will give the all the methods of that class. So all the methods are appearance. Here it has appearance and also it has sleep and eat. It also will return like get methods. These also include the methods of object class also since every method is every object every class inherits the object class by default. So all the methods of the object class also will belongs to this class human, so that methods also will be returned by this method. So it is also we are storing in the methods array. C dot get fields, that means it will give the like fields are like instance variables. It will give the array of instance variables of this class human. Yeah, I think Chaitanya Kumaria has.
Ma'am, I have a doubt with respect to get methods.
Okay.
Ma'am, had it been primitive, then what would have been there in methods array? Would it have been only primitives methods or would it have included humans method also?
Actually, primitive is not an object. Okay. So yeah, primitive. So I think int. So you can say new int dot get class that you cannot use at all. So if you yeah you can, I think you can try
No, I
this
think he is
also.
asking about primitive object. I think instead of class C, instead of that, I think you are asking about class C equal to new primitive, is it?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
In that case,
Okay,
what
new
will it be?
primitive.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm thinking like primitive man. Okay, I'm thinking about like primitive integers and all. Okay, so
Yeah,
new
yeah, yeah. No, no. This is he's referring to this class. No.
okay,
Yeah.
so new primitive dot class it will give primitive man as all the information of primitive man will be stored in the class C. So C dot get constructor in that case will like it will store the primitive man one constructor information, and get method also it will store the eat sleep information. Along with that it will store all the methods that belongs to the object class also it will be stored because every class inherits the object class by default. So all the methods of the object class also belongs to our class. No, so that information also will be stored in the get methods, and c dot get fields will store the instance variables of your class information. Okay, so if I say system
Sorry to interrupt, Nalini. So, Chaitanya, what was your specific question? I did not get it. Like, if it was primitive, if it was an object of primitive, what is the doubt?
Ma'am, my doubt was, as ma'am said, in case we here we have class C is equals to new human dot get. So
Correct.
here, if we are applying get method, so we are having methods of both human and primitive man also.
Correct.
had instead of human, would it have been primitive man, new primitive man? Then the methods, and we had applied get method. Then what methods would we have applied?
It will be the methods inside the primitive man and the object class. See, we say that when the get methods will give all the inherited methods plus the methods inside the class. So when you are looking at human actually inherits from primitive man, and primitive man inherits from object class, right? So you
Yes,
will get
yes.
all the methods starting from the object.
Okay.
You are having a primitive man, then up the hierarchy, like one level up the hierarchy. I mean, the object class is where the hierarchy stops, right? So from
Yes,
the methods,
yes.
from the primitive man, pleasant. So if you do not want the inherited methods, at the same time, you want all the methods, like this gives only the public methods, right? If you want all the methods, you use something called get declared methods. So you can just explore the class, named class in Java. The class C equal to new human, that class is there, no? That line you can see class C. So that
Yes.
class itself is a class in Java. Just go in the Java documentation and see all the methods inside that. That's actually kind of helping you to go through the class and see, what are the methods and fields and everything available within this class. If you want only that those are specific to a particular class, you just pick the get declared methods.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
The same thing applies to the fields also.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, Nalini, just correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. It's correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samriddhi, what to refer, meaning where to go and check. In the Java documentation, standard java.oracle.com, sorry, docs.oracle.com Java documentation is there, Java 11. Just go and check the class there. There you see the method, all the methods, the method signatures, description of these methods, what the purpose of these fields are, everything you can see from the Java documentation. So whenever you have a doubt regarding what are the methods available, fields available, the access specifier of each method, so go to Java documentation. So just go and explore this, because there are so many methods which are available. We are just highlighting few of the, more relevant methods, I would say. Yeah, carry on.
Yeah, number of methods. So methods is an array. In order to get the count of number of methods, you can say methods dot length. It will give the length of that array. So it will give the number of methods in that. So it is 12. So 9 plus 3. Object class has 9 public methods.
Ma'am, I have a question.
Yeah.
Ma'am, this get methods, get fields, all these methods are only available for public classes, right? Because otherwise everybody would be able to see it.
Yeah, get methods and get fields are used to give only the public class public things information, but in order to get the private things, private information, you will use get declared methods. Yeah, there are security issues
Nalini,
also.
sorry to interrupt. So I think Shruti's question was, our primitive man and human are public classes, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So if we have private classes, will we get this information is the question, I think.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
That I think again will be bound by the visibility of private. And so if you are probably asking within the class, it will be available. If you're asking from outside the class, they may not be accessible. I just have to check it out. I have not tried it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, number of constructors will be 1 only because it has 1 constructor. Human class has 1 constructor, and number of fields is 0 because it has no instance fields. That's why. So these are the like object class methods, public methods. There are like, you can count, they are like 9. So 9 plus 3, it will give 12 as output. Okay.
Do we have to add always? Do we have to add 9 to the 3 methods as part of this program? This problem has only 3 methods stated, so
Yeah.
you have to add plus 9 and see that the output is matching 12. Is that the way?
Yeah, because why you are adding plus 9 is because by default every class inherits the object class. So all the public methods of object class will belong to this our
Will be only
class
9.
also.
So plus 9 always we have to.
Yeah. Yes.
So Nalini, so Srinath, are you asking if you have to explicitly add the 9, or I mean I don't understand.
Yeah, because I see only 3 methods declared in the primitive man.
No, that's what I was saying.
Now,
get methods returns the methods which are there in the class as well as which are inherited from its parent class. That's what I was saying. Like C.get methods The method array will have the name of all methods which are there in the current class plus all the parent classes, the ancestral classes, right?
Okay.
So you don't have to explicitly add anything. Methods.length in itself will return 12.
With respect to that, one person was asked if that method that it's a primitive man. If it's a primitive man, then method is only 2 methods have to be taken.
No, 2 plus whatever are there
2
in the
plus
objects.
whatever
That
object.
Yeah, that will automatically be printed by the system. Like get methods is that is what the get methods method does.
Okay,
It will look at all the parent classes and take the total count of methods, and that's what's there in the methods.length.
Okay.
So we don't have to explicitly add 9. We don't have to go to the parent classes and check. Get methods in itself will return all the methods which are there in all the ancestral classes.
No. In the case of this quiz and all, if this sort of question is asked,
quiz,
we don't have a
terminal.
Okay,
This will not be there. I mean, it's not possible to do that.
Only by
of course,
programming.
course, you will be given access to the Java documentation, but then it is difficult to see the hierarchy and all that for certain classes. So, yeah, I mean, whatever is possible doable in the proctored exam or even in the quizzes, only those questions. These are more for you to do, like, just execute and figure out, okay, these are things which are available and all those things, just for, yeah. In general, trying to understand. Many of these things cannot be tested in the quiz. Yeah.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Ma'am, so what happens to methods that are getting overridden? So will they be counted twice?
No, ma'am. I think
No, they won't be like
no.
counted. They are like
overridden method.
I don't know about that. So overridden methods are not taken, is it? Like we have sleep again in human also, then it will not count as that, is it? Okay, we have to try it out. I'm not sure. I'm sorry, I haven't tried it out. Are you sure, Nalini? You sure it will not be like if we write public in sleep in be in the human, then it will not add +1, is it? Anand, you sure?
Yeah, it won't add, ma'am.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Overloaded will come, but overridden won't come.
Okay. I have no idea.
Okay, these are like whatever we have discussed. What is the which method is used to get what things? So public methods, we can get the public methods of the particular class by using this get methods function, and methods exclusive to the class. That means so like previously we have seen like it will get methods function is returning what the methods which belongs to object class also. No, in order to give the get exclusive methods means methods only to that particular class. Here the human class has only 3 methods, no, and primitive man has only 2 methods. So in order to get that, you can use like get declared methods. Here in the get declared methods, it will give all the public methods and private methods, protected methods, all the things like here get declared function methods, that method will give. And public instance variables, in order to get the public instance variables, we have seen get fields, and public constructors we can get that by using get constructors. Declared constructors means if you want to get the declared constructors, you can use get declared constructors things. Okay.
And how is public constructors different from declared constructors?
So sometimes constructors can be private also, no, private constructors also will be there.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, this is like, so primitives like byte, short, int, long, all are primitives. No, in order to do it to like object type, there is something called wrapper class. It will wraps. It will give the object class for the particular primitives. So you need to match the primitive type with its wrapper class. So here, so byte has this byte as an object class, and short has this short as an object class, int has integer as object class, long has long, not longer, only long, long, capital long, long. It is like object type of primitive long, and float is the same thing, and double is this double, char is character. you have, this is the wrapper class for char primitive type, and for boolean the wrapper class is this capital boolean. Okay, so generally, like in while using what generics also, you can't say t extends int or something, no, you are using integer, and because it takes only reference object type, so that's why you need to know the particular wrapper classes for this primitives also. That's why this. Okay, this. So just try this question, like you need to tell what is the output. Yeah, just firstly try this question. This is nothing with reflections like what we have seen. If you are, if you have watched 1 2 3 lectures, then it will be clear also this thing. So anyone wants to answer what will be the output?
It will take the first push with the T1 object because it is integer. A string is the first one.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, I think you are not familiar with the type erasure, no? So type erasure, this type erasure, in the type erasure, whatever. So T1 is of type like T1. What, there is no upper bound for T1, no? So it will is, so it will take object as its like object by during, like in the type erasure it will be converted to object, and because it has no upper bound, so if I say T1 extends number something, number or something, then so T1 will become number. This is called type erasure. So whatever, so the type variable, this type parameter will be converted to upper bound in the type erasure thing. So the compiler will take this as object and this also as object, because you are not specifying any upper bound for T1 and T2, so they will automatically, the compiler will take it as object and this also as object. So now if I say example s equal to new example, that means I'm creating an object of this example class. Here everywhere in your code, compiler will replaces T1 and T2 by object and object. So you have to push methods, no, you have to push methods with the same method name and same number of parameters, and also type is also same. T1 type is object and T2 type is object. T2 type is also an object. So if you call push method, then which method should it call? Because both can accept string, right? So which method should it call? There will be some kind of what ambiguity, no? Because of this, the compiler doesn't allow you to do this. Yeah, in your normal methods also, if you try to create the create two methods of the same name and same number of arguments, the compiler will give error. So that's why this is compiler error. Okay, yeah, you can ask, like if you have any doubt you can ask this. Okay.
Ma'am, I do not understand what we're trying to do by doing the angle brackets and string comma integer. So is that the name of the class?
So you are telling T1 is of type string and T2 is of type integer. So you are, so T1, so while creating the object you should tell what is the type of T1 and T2. Is it of string or integer? Is it of some other class? So you are telling T1 is of type string and T2 is of type integer. Okay, the compiler will check whether they are, so now here the compiler is replacing the T1 with and T2 by object, right? While creating
Right.
this, it will check whether they're compatible. So object can take string, no, object can take integer as well, so both are compatible, so it won't give error at this point, but it will give error here because you have like two methods with the same name and same number of arguments, no, and same type also. So that's why which method to call, it has some ambiguity, so it will return error. So it won't replace it with string or integer, it will be object only. So the compiler will know that which the string and integer, the values which you are using for T1 and T2 are like string and integer, that will be known only at runtime, but during the compile time it will be just object and object. So that's why the compiler will throw error, because it doesn't know which method to call. Okay.
Ma'am, so T1 and T2 here are parameters, is it?
They are called type parameters. They are called type parameters. You are telling T1 is of
there was one more way of defining it using the circle brackets, right? That was the normal way of doing it.
No, in order to denote the type parameters, you have to use the angular brackets only, any type. Let's take T or anything. So I think this is not clear for you because you have not like gone through the lectures also. I think you have not attended the previous session also.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, yeah, this is like already discussed, like initial conceptual things, and also like all the activity questions also we have discussed in the previous session. That's why there is confusion for you, but here the type parameters will be denoted by this angular brackets. And in order to use in order to denote the type parameters, we will use mostly we will use alphabets, capital alphabets, but sometimes we can use some strings like this also, key value also like identifier. It is similar to identifier. That means class names or variable names, whatever names which you are using, you can use the same names to denote the type variables. Okay, you just watch the lecture and then that will be clear. Okay, lectures and live session also, if something is not clear. Every question is discussed from week 1, 5.1, 5.2 and 5.3 activity questions. Okay, that's why it will give compiler error, because T1 and T2 has same erasure of type object. Okay, yeah, you can ask anything if not clear. If not, I will go here. Yeah, this is like you got some idea, no? I think you can answer this.
Yes,
so now
ma'am.
what will be the type of T1? It will be object. No, now compiler will replace it with object, because it has no upper bound, but T2 has some upper bound. That means T2 can be number or something subtype of number. So that means it will replace it with number because it has upper bound as number. So everywhere T1 and T2 will be replaced by object. This things only, object here, and here it is number. Okay, now you are saying s dot push of hello. So then the compiler will give any error? Will the compiler give any error, or will it just execute? So you are assuming that let us assume like you have this is class is a example is a simple class. It has two methods in it, push, void push and void push, but it is like kind of method overloading. You have seen, no, like the same method name, but the type of the method is type of the argument is different. No, here it's object, here it is number. So yeah, now if you say s dot push of hello, then which method will be executed?
Ma'am, so hello is not a number, so shouldn't the first one be executed?
Yeah, hello is not a number, but it is of type string, so as it is an object, it can take anything, right? As it is object, so you have seen, no, that parent class can hold the child class object. So since object is parent class of every class, it can take anything. So yeah, this method will get executed. Okay,
Ma'am, but that seems counterintuitive, no? Because the child class can always go to the parent class by losing a few details. But how can a parent class go to a child class? Because it has to gain a few details, no? So a float can always become int.
this method, you are telling this for to this, like you are giving to this method object. You are telling like this method is accepting object as input, but you are giving string, that is like it has more things, no, it has more what,
right?
It is like more specific. Yeah, the previously like you are expecting object, but you are getting more than that. So that is allowed because no information is lost, no, like
Right, yes.
all the
Yes.
things that belongs to object will be there. in the string also. That way no information that can be done. Okay.
But number, it's clearly not a number, no? So I don't understand why there will be a confusion as to which function to use.
Okay, you have some confusion, or you don't have confusion?
I have
Shruti, so what do you think is the answer of this question is?
Ma'am, hello should get printed. No.
Yeah, hello should get printed. So what is the confusion? What is counterintuitive? What is not a number? I mean, I didn't understand your doubt actually.
I think ma'am said that there will be a compiler error. To me, it seems like there should not be a compiler error.
I haven't told compiler error. I told like there won't be any compiler error.
Okay. Sorry. Then I missed it.
Yeah. Okay, the answer will be hello. Okay. Because there is no confusion. Yeah, that's why compiler won't give error, right? Yeah. This one you can check. This one. Okay, I will just replace whatever you know. I will do this. This is object. This is number. State is number now. Here also this is object. This is number. Okay. Okay, now you are giving 5.5. So which method will it go? Like, will it go to object or will it go to number? Will it execute this thing or this method or this method?
Ma'am, is it allowed to pass T1 and T2 for same type? Like here the T1 and T2 are of same type in the
yeah, that is allowed because here you are expecting for T2 you are expecting number or something subtype of number. So here T2 is number, that is allowed. So here you are expecting object. For T1 you are expecting object or subtype of object. Since everything is subtype of object, that's why this is also allowed. Number. Okay, that's why this is allowed. Okay, you can give anything, string or integer or anything here for object, but for number you can give only integer, float, and double and number, because only those are subtypes of number. That's why subtypes and number. Okay.
So Nalini, I'll just add. So here it is almost like this argument passing in methods. No, the order in which it is actually passed is the order in which it gets mapped. So for instance, in the class example definition, you have T1, T2, right? So the first number goes to T1, the second number goes to T2. That's the idea. I mean, the sense that is how it has to be mapped. I mean, you were asking like whether we can give number, number here, right? Shouldn't it have been something else is what you're asking?
I thought that for T1 and T2, both should be different types.
No, it doesn't have to be something like int, int in the method header, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I mean, Nalini, that's how it is mapped, no? Depending on the order.
Yeah, yes, ma'am. This order matters. Here, T1, this is T1 and this is T2. Whatever you indicate first. Yeah.
So you can have number, number. I mean, that's possible. So it depends on the, just like you have in the function header, no? You have the order of arguments, right? Based on that mapping.
Yeah, if you say int, float in the function, if it is taking two arguments, you need to pass 1 and 1.1 something in that same order. No, you cannot pass 1.1 and 1. So order matters. Here also T1 is like object and T2 is number. Yeah, that order matters. Yeah, but object for object, it is of type object. T1 is you are expecting object, but you are giving number. So since number is also subtype of object, that is accepted. But for T2, you are expecting number or something subtype of number, so you can give only integer, float, double or number. You cannot give for T2 as string or some other things, string or any employee or student other objects, but for object you can give any other things. Okay, here will the compiler give error or will it execute any of the code, like any function? Will it give error or will it execute? So you can just tell anything, like whatever you think. Okay, since you are giving 5.5, 5.5 is like double. So here you are here 5.5. This is like, this can be object also. No, 5.5 is like object. See, double. You are telling it is double. Double means object also will accept a double, and number also will accept a double. Both these methods will accept double. So the compiler, yeah, it is like ambiguity for compiler, right? Which method to call, whether to call first method or second method, because both will accept double. That's why here the compiler will give error because of ambiguity, because reference to the method is ambiguous. Okay, yeah, you can ask like if you have doubt, or else we'll move to the next question. Here 5.5 is double, but if you pass some string as something hello or some other thing, because yeah, number cannot take some string, so the so this won't take, but this will take, so there is no ambiguity in that case. But here both are number, both, like this is object, this is number, both can accept double, so it is giving compiler error because it cannot decide, the compiler cannot decide which method to call.
Ma'am, if it was instead of T2 extends number, if it was T2 extends double, then
Okay, if T2 extends double, in that case also it can be double, no, now T2 will be double, since object can accept anything, it can accept double, it can accept integer, it can accept everything, so there will be still confusion, no, to call the method, which method to call, like either this method or this method, since both can accept the things double.
okay, ma'am.
Yeah, but if it is a string or something, then only one method will be called, that object method will be called. Okay, but if it
So,
is of type number,
Nalli, who
yeah,
was asking that doubt? May I know who was asking that
Sir,
doubt?
ma'am.
Partha, yeah, Partha.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
why do you think putting a double there would help? Like, I mean, just trying to see if you have understood.
Then
You are constraining the second one even further, right? But the problem is that as well as the object can still receive 5.5.
Yes, ma'am. I got confused.
Yeah. You're constraining number further. That doesn't help. You have to constrain the T1. If you constrain it to something like a string or something like integer or something, right? Then 5.5 becomes more clear, right? Which one it has to invoke.
Yes, ma'am. I got it now.
Yeah. Yeah, Nalini.
Yeah, okay. Okay, I'm just replacing T by object. Okay, here object, because you people are getting confused, no, that's why. So since it is an object, you can use string or double for T1, string or double or anything, since it is an object. So T obj you are telling, no, that is in the first case it is hello, obj is hello, and the second case it is 10.5. Okay, n it is, for n ob is hello, and for e it is 10.5. And dot get class will you are telling, you are checking whether n dot get class is same as the class name is same as e dot get class name. Is it same? Yes, no, because both are of type example, both are storing example only, both are referring to example object only, so that's why this will return true, because both are referring to example object. So then the control will goes to this statement, and system.out.println of n.show. N.show means this method you are doing. So now ob is of type string, no, here, because hello you are using. So if you say hello dot get class dot get name, what it will give, it will give string classes output, no, because you are getting the name of the class, that is string only, no, string, because hello is a string, that's why you will get string as output, right? And then you are in the, and then that is here you will get string along with the package name and everything. And then in the new line, in the then there is new line character, the control will goes to here, and you are calling n dot get, the get method you are calling. So that means it will return ob. What is ob here? In the first case, n dot n, no, n for n, ob is hello, so it will return hello as output. So answer will be hello, and yeah, java.lang.string. Okay, if it is not clear, you can ask. I will just wait for 2 minutes, just see the code. Okay, I think I can move, right?
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am, in the answer, the package name is also given. Is it because of dot get name?
Yeah, every time, no, this get class also will give the entire thing. You have not checked, right? So the get class method also, it will give everything, right, along with the package and everything. I think you should just execute and you should check, okay, what does this get class and get name, everything is written. Okay, for currently I cannot tell exactly what it is actually giving. Okay, get class and get name. Can you try that? It's just simple. You just take one class. Say just take this only hello dot get class dot get name. You can execute and you can check by just taking get class of. Then you can just take the print the output. Okay. So you might have doubt. This example of string and example of double, are this, will they both give different classes? No, it does not give different classes. It will give the same class output because they are referring to example only, as because it is an object of example and is also object of example, they are referring to only the example. So it doesn't, the size won't vary, if it is string, like the whatever this reference, this you will be referring to example class only, you won't be referring to some other thing if it is string or double. So that's why it will give the same thing. It will give true. It doesn't consider parameter like string and double as different, like type parameter example string and type parameter example double as different. Okay, this you have already seen, no? The choose wrapper classes that extends number only. Boolean and character are of not type number, so byte, int, short, everything are of type number, so it should be like wrapper classes only, byte, integer and double, because you are using number. No, that's fine. Also these are definitions. Yeah, this yeah, you will find this in the lecture also. Sir has explained these terms also, you can get these things. Yeah. So what we'll go this one by one. Generics, erasure means, so at the runtime all the type variables are promoted to object or the upper bound. So previously you have seen t1 t2 extends number, no? So at runtime they will be promoted to upper bound. So here t1 has no limit, no upper bound. That means you can, it takes object, but it has something. You are telling t2 can be number or something subtype of number, so t2 will be promoted to number. That is the erasure means at runtime all the type variables are promoted to object or the upper bound if no upper bound is specified. Okay, auto boxing is like implicit conversion between the base types and wrapper types. So int is converted, will be converted to integer by auto boxing. Same float will be, so all the primitives will be converted to wrapper types. The concept is called auto boxing. The conversion what the name which we have given for this process is auto boxing, implicit conversion between base types and wrapper types. So wrapper class is like, so wrapper classes of type object, it is not primitive, so that is like unlike primitives compatible with object hierarchy. Okay, wrapper class are from generics. Yeah, I think this will be clear if you have gone through the lectures also. There is like not much to explain in this.
So
Okay,
Nalini, can you just scroll a little above? Just wanted to just show that one example, where the little more that float case were 5.5 we were transferring. I mean, we were 5. Yeah. So here, if you see, you are actually saying n dot push 5.5, right? But what is actually going into the number class is actually the double, the caps D, right? But 5.5 is actually a primitive data type. It's actually small double only. But implicitly, it is actually going inside as a capital double. That's why it is the number is actually receiving the Can you just scroll a little above, little more? Yeah. So here when we say T2 extends number, no, I mean, in this case, there is of course a compiler error, but if it was not there, we are just passing a primitive data type, I mean, value which is of a, value which is of a primitive data, let's say double, small double with small d, but it is actually taken there as a double with capital D. That is the auto boxing, right? In primitive value, you're actually converting to a wrapper class. So if you don't know wrapper class, you should probably maybe what I'm talking about doesn't really make sense, but yeah, you should go and check it. Okay, and then we can continue. Just wanted to give like this is what auto boxing.
Okay, if you have sort method, so if you have defined sort method only for integer array, you cannot use that sort method on float or anything, no, but the procedure is same for everything. So in order to make that algorithm to be used by like all data types, you can use generics. So the purpose of generic is like it will give introduce like kind of generic functionality. The algorithm will be same, no, if you want to sort something it will be same. If you want to add two integers or two floors, the process is same, just use the plus operator. But without use of generics, you need to define two separate methods to add two integers and to add two floats. So but the thing for the addition is like just plus operator. So in order to avoid this overriding or overwriting, like same thing you need to write many times, so in order to avoid this, you can use generics the same. The thing is it will allow like like it will allow you to write the single function, but you can use on many data types like integer, float, or anything object also. So if you write anything, you can use it for many types. That's the thing. So the generics is like single class interface and method that can be used with different data type. You can use that whatever you have defined the generic, that can be used on different data types. Okay, that is, I think that is this activity 5.4 and 5.5. Yeah, we can go to this what practice assignment because we have time now. If you have any specific doubt, you can ask. If not, then we'll move to this practice questions. This question has nothing with generics. You must be able to answer this question, I think. Yeah, you can answer this. What's called? Okay, just I'm giving the gist. It has abstract class output device. Printer is a class that extends output device, and monitor also is a class that extends output device. And interface you have iterable. Interface name is iterable, and it has not guest nest methods. So you are defining public output list that implements the interface. So yeah, you have what that as it is implementing the interface, you should define hasnet next and get nest methods. Okay, the thing is identify the appropriate option to fill in the blanket line 1. So you need to fill this line such that the output is printer prints and monitor displays. That means you need to call the display. So when printer prints output, you will get, if you call the output method of printer, then you will get the printer prints. If you call the monitor output method of monitor, then you will get monitor displays. So you need to identify the appropriate line to fill such that you will get those as output here. Okay, so it has like this output list has this two variables, like this three instance variables, like limit is 2, you are telling max limit is 2, and index there is under private instance variable index, and you have object array. Since it is an object array, you can give anything, printer or monitor or any other thing. So here it is taking printer and monitor objects, this object array. And here index you are setting in the constructor, you are setting this instance variable index as -1. You have already set this variable, no, max limit as 2, and this object array this one OAR as this array of printer and monitor. Now you are defining the boolean hasNest and getNest methods. So in the hasNest methods you should check whether, so iterator, I think you are familiar in like the previous weeks, like week 3 and week 4. So first you will check whether your array, this OAR has next element in the array. If it has next element, then you will print it. So initially it has, like, it is pointing, index is pointing to -1 somewhere outside. Then if you say if index is less than max limit -1, because why here max limit -1? Because the index are only 0 and 1, length is 2, the array length is 2, but index are only 0 1 1. You are checking that only. Yeah, -1 is less than 1, so it will return true. So yeah, then the in the getNest method you will increment the index, whatever the index you have you will increment, and you will just return the element of that array. That's what that means. This iterator is meant for only iterating over this array. Okay, here now you have created an object of this output list. List is an object of output list, and you are checking while list dot hasNest. That means you are calling the hasNest methods. So it will check whether this is true or not. This is true, it will return true, right? Then you should write here something, this line, so that your output will be printer displays and output monitor display. How can you do that? So the thing is you need to call the, here the thing is you need to call display method. That is clear, no? That is clear. You need to call the display method, and you need to call display method on this method, the next object of your array. GetNest you should call, no, because it has a new printer and new monitor. How will you get new printer or new monitor? By calling the getNest method on this list. So you will say list dot getNest, so it will return. So can you say list dot getNest of dot display? So list dot getNest will give printer and monitor. Can you call this like dot display here? Yeah, anyone, like, so anyone of you can tell like whether we can call this here list dot getNest dot display, because you need to get the output as printer display and monitor display. So you need to call the printer display method and monitor display method. How can you call the display methods of those classes? By creating the object and by calling the display method. So this getNest will give the elements of your array. So first element is new printer. If you say dot display on that new printer, it will give new printer only, no, the output. If you say dot display on that method, will it give the correct answer, printer display and monitor display, or do you think like will there be some error? Yeah, this concept, no, you have already learned this in week 4 and week 3. This is like you should be able, nothing with generics, no, this is nothing with generics. So the answer,
We have to
it,
call the output function, I think.
Okay, output. Okay, you have to call the output function. Okay, if I say output, I thought this display. If I write output function, will it give the correct answer or will it give some error? So if I'm saying list dot get next, I'm calling the next method that will give you that what new printer and new elements of your array. So will it give the required output or will it be some error?
It will give the output.
We have to typecast it in the interface. Only then it will work.
Okay,
The
why do you
output
need to
device.
typecast it? Why? Do you know why?
Ma'am, because how does the compiler know that the has next one will give us the object of printer and monitor?
Yeah, so this is like return OARR of index. That means it will, so in the first case it will return what printer, in the second time it will return monitor. Okay. So yeah, this is, it will give new printer in the first run. In the first while loop, it will give first time of the iteration of your while loop, it will give new printer. And during the second time in your while loop, it will give new monitor. Yeah. So but the thing is the return type is object. So the compiler know that this is an object, but object, does the object has output method in it? It doesn't have output method, no. So it won't work, it will give compiler error because the static type of this object which is returned here is object. So object doesn't have output method, it will give compiler error. Even it is of, even the object is of type printer, but the object is printer, but the refer, like you are telling that is, it is returning object, but the object actual the memory is of type printer, no. So but the static type is object. So it will check, the compiler will check whether the output method can be called on this object, this thing, this object thing you cannot call, so compiler will give error. So how to avoid that? How can we avoid this? Mm,
By typecasting.
yeah, by typecasting it to, should we typecast it to printer or monitor? It should work for both the cases, no. For we should call both display output method of both the printer and monitor. So how so yeah, so should you typecast it to printer or monitor, or should you typecast it to this, should you typecast this to output device? You can typecast this to output device, no, because it has output method. And since it is like since both the printer and monitor are subclasses of output device, yeah, statically it works because it has output as output method in the output device, but while runtime their respective methods will be called, no. Dynamic dispatch, that means new printer method, the output of new printer will be called in the first run, and the output of monitor method will be called in the second time. So if you typecast it to output device, but if you typecast it to either printer or monitor, the other thing won't work, no. Like, so yeah, that's why you need to typecast it to output device. The monitor, this won't work because it will display, it will work only for monitor display output method. It won't work for printer output method because you cannot call that, no, using this monitor object. So list dot get
Yes.
next dot output, it won't work because the return type is object. Object dot output won't work. That's why it will give compiler error. So here, so this is working, and here the thing is, it is output list, it is not output device. Okay, it is output list. Output list is our own class, this class, this class. So output list doesn't have output method at all. So you, this also will give compiler error because it doesn't have output method. Okay, if it is clear, then I will move. If not, you can ask. Yeah, based on the previous discussion, can anyone answer this? This of type object now. Okay, in the first case, you are this is number, you are telling it is number. In the second case, you are telling double. Okay, and now you are telling n equal to e. So you are assigning, that means you are assigning new example of number, that object, this thing to new example of double. So actually there is one property in generics, like generics are not covariant. You cannot do this, you cannot. So in the classes it work, no, you can assign, so parent class can hold child class object, that is possible. But in generics it is not possible. Generics are not not covariant. Here example, this n is like kind of subtype, because it is double and this is number. But that is not what there is rule in generics, that you cannot do. The generics are not covariant. That's why it will give you error. But okay, but for the like, but if you do this in the case of classes, that will work. If you say like, if you use something employee and manager, and if you say employee equal to manager object, then it will work. But in generics it won't work. Okay, you need to choose the correct line for the option line one. Correct the thing for the line one. Yeah, what should be the output? Okay, just you need to create an object of this obj1 dot display of error one. You firstly create an object of show. No, you have just obj1 is an reference, and new show, you are creating an object for this show class, and then you are calling display method on this show class. So display method is taking some array of elements. So array is of type object. You can give anything like integer or float or some anything. So ARR1, you should define ARR1. No? So for ARR1, it can be integer, it can be string or anything, but int and double it cannot take, because type parameter can take only proper classes, integer and strings. That's why these two options are incorrect, because you cannot give reference variable. You can give only this object types for type parameter.
Ma'am, the return type is also same, right?
Yeah, return type is return type is like here it is like in not return type. This is you are telling this. So you haven't told, no, your class is using some type parameter. You haven't told, right, in your class. Here just it is simple show as normal class, but this method is using some type parameter, type variable. This method is using some type variable t elements. So you should tell your method in advance it has some type variable t. You are just telling the compiler in advance that it has type variable. It is the return type is void. Okay, void only return type.
Oh, yes. Okay, ma'am. I mean, return type can also be generic or not, ma'am.
Yeah, return type can also be generic. Yeah, in the programs you will see return
Okay,
type
ma'am.
can also, yeah. If you use simply here, if you declare your class as generic, you need not mention. If you declare your class as generic, this is not necessary here. But if you are not mentioning here in your class, your classes of type generic, then you should tell your function is generic. Okay, this method will work for integer, float, double, string, or any array like a employee or anything, student or customer or anything, because this is generic method. No, this will work for anything to display the elements. You don't need to write a specific method for those things like integer separately and double and or anything. Okay. I think the same thing, there is this question saying the sir also used the same thing to copy the elements from source to target. Yeah, this is based on the same thing. You can for now, like without watching the lecture, it will be kind of difficult to explain. If you have any doubt, you can come back, or else I can give just the gist. So this is like faculty class. You have this like instance variables getters, the get name and get department of their getters, and the constructor here toString. You are overriding the toString method, and HOD is like extending faculty, that means HOD is subtype, and you have the constructor for HOD class, and you are what overriding the string method also here, and the copy array object is the class. And here you have, here in this copy object, here you have generic method. So here also I'm telling, no, like here also we are declaring in advance that this is a generic method, and it is using s and t as type parameter. S extends t, so s is of type object generally. Now s extends t, no, s can take object or subtype of object, that means. So generally here, while create, okay, I will go to line by line. Here what you are doing, void copy, you are copying the elements from what source to target. So what here you are doing is like you are, there is like this int I and limit, these are local variables, and I equal to 0. I limit you are setting like source dot length and source target dot length, you are taking the minimum length, because you need to copy from one to other, no. So you will take the minimum, and then only you can copy, no. If there is some, okay, if you have 3 elements in one array, and if you have 2 elements in other array, how can you do? You cannot copy, no, like all the, like you cannot copy, no, this 2 elements to 3 elements, like the other, the one element will be left, you know. So that's why you will take minimum, and then you are just copying from source to target here. So in the main method, you are creating the objects of HOD. This is like you are just giving the HOD has 2 argument constructor. First one is name and the department. So Johnny and CSC are names and department. Jock and Tribling and Nelson and C, those objects of HOD. And this is like HOD is like HOD array. You are creating HOD array by saying HOD1, HOD2 and HOD3. So this is like your HOD array. It has this, all these elements, HOD1 and HOD2 and HOD3, and the faculty members also, like faculty is an array, and the type variable is member, and you are creating an objects of the faculty. You have just declared, you have not created the faculty object here. You are just calling copy arrays dot object dot, this is static method, so you can call without creating the object of copy array objects. So you will just say dot copy, you will just use the class name, and you will call the method dot copy, and you are passing HOD and members. So first type is source. Source is like HOD, and the target is members. Members is of type faculty. So the compiler will check whether yes extends t, correct, yes, yes, no, the HOD is extending faculty. That's why it won't give any compiler error here, because it will check in advance whether x extends t is happening, whether the first type is subtype of the second one. So the HOD is subtype of faculty, so it won't give any error. Yeah, just simply it will copy here in the copy function each and every element, which like each and element of your faculty of your source is like a HOD to faculty, that will happen, and then you are just printing the faculty thing. So you have copied the elements from source to target. Source is HOD and the target is faculty. So you have copied the elements from HOD to faculty thing. So the elements of faculty you are printing here. So the output will be only these 2 elements will be printed, because the other element won't be printed here, because minimum you have taken, no, minimum length, because you have told limit is minimum source dot length comma target dot length. So source dot length is 3, but target dot length is 2. You have defined here faculty is like 2 numbers only. So only 2 elements, first 2 elements will be copied. Yeah, the same structure, same thing, everything is same in the lecture also. I think sir also has explained this. That will be more clear if you watch that thing. So you have interface X that has a display method, and class A that has show method. Class B is extending both interface. It is extending class A and it is implementing the interface X. So it will have the it should override the display method, no, because it has display method in it. So we are defining the display method in the class B. And now you have the class example that is extending. So since it is type parameter, you will indicate it by this only, like extends. You will use extends keyword to what, to inherit a class, and also to implement an interface you will use extends. This is the syntax to what, to extend a class and to implement an interface for generic. So you are separating that by ampersand. Yeah, this is just syntactical thing only. Okay, now you are creating there is one constructor and there is show method here. Okay, and then you are creating the object here. You are creating an object of new example. You are telling example is of type B and you are passing an object of new B. Okay, that is like here this will be object, but instead of object here you are passing B. That will work, no, it will take anything. Okay, B you are passing and you are calling this this method show is calling obj.display, obj of type B, you know. So b.display will happen, that will print the display only, right? You can check, yeah, you can check like what it will print. Since obj is of type B, so b.display method will be called. So display, what is the output of display? That is display. That's why it is. So instead of b, if I give a here example, instead of b as type variable, if I give a here, will it work? Like will it be able to create object, or will it won't it be able to create object? New a only, I'm giving new a only. Will it work? Based on the previous discussions, can you tell will it work or not, any one of you? So here I'm telling instead of b I will give a. Will it work? Yeah, like any one of you can answer, like
Ma'am, can T extend two classes?
yeah, t can extend two classes also.
Ma'am, how's that possible? T is an object, right? And okay,
Yeah,
X is an interface, is it? Okay,
yeah,
got it.
X is an interface. So I'm telling here instead of a here as type variable, if I use instead of b, if I use a, will this entire thing, will it work or won't it work? Like will it give some error, or will it give the output something, show as output or something like that, I'm asking. So instead of here, T must be of type A and X. That means T must extend A and it must implement X. But if I say only A, if I give only A here, A class is not, so T extends A, it will satisfy. It can be, T can be A or subtype of A, it will satisfy. But it is not implementing interface X, no. So it will give error because T has some bounds, no. It must be extending A and should implement interface X. That is not happening here. So it will give error in that case if I use A. So since B is a class that extends A, that means it is subtype of A and it is implementing X. That's why B has worked here, and the object got created, and then you are calling the display method on object. That's why it is like display method has printed. It's simple. No, you can just look once and you can what if you have any doubt regarding the execution, you can just ask.
Ma'am, when A was already okay.
Yeah, you can tell.
Got it. Sorry.
Yeah, okay. So it will give only the display method as output. So identify the correct definitions for the array in array ARR for which the number function dot max. So since it is a static method, you are calling just by using this what class name, sorry, just by using your class name, number function dot max of ARR. So you are calling this method number function dot max of ARR. So it is returning the maximum element of your array. This is nothing. This it is already given. No, this method is returning the maximum element which is present in your array. But you need to identify appropriate definition for ARR. That's all. So T extends number, it is already given. No, so this is taking ARR as this is taking some array as like argument as parameter. So yeah, it can be any array, but type must be object. But here there is one bound for it also. No, it can be number or subtype of number. That means you can give integer, double, byte or anything, but you cannot give character and string as they are not subtypes of number, or they are not number or not subtype of number. That's why it will, these two options won't work, other options will work. Yeah, you can check one more time and you can like, if you have any doubt you can ask. So you are calling the max function of this number function by passing some ARR that is not defined. No? So you should identify the appropriate definition, like declaration definition for this ARR. So integer and double works because T extends number that you are passing as parameter. No, that's why only integer and double works for this here. Okay, just this is verifiable interface. It has equals method and employee is implementing verifiable. So yeah, these are instance variables, constructor, getters, this is also get, and you are what defining this is equal method in employee class, and manager is extending employee. Okay, it has 3 argument constructor and it also has some getters. Okay, now f class is some function, and you have this, you have main method in it, and the main method you are creating objects of employee class, and also you have created an object of manager class, employees and m. And for the find employee method, you are giving emps and ms argument. So this must be find employee, no, this method, because you are calling that this is static method it should be static method only, because you are calling that method, no, with because you are calling that method without using the object. So the method name must be here find employee, and yeah, and it must be static, and it must be also like, yeah, as no options in your, there are like, here everything is public, so it must be public only. And then it is like the first argument is emps and the second argument is like uh, okay, it is returning some boolean value. So the return type of this method, you need to find identify the function header, no. So the return type is like boolean, and so you have got this many things now, public, boolean, and you have got find employee.
No, static also, ma'am.
Yes, static, public static, boolean, find employee, and it is taking two arguments, emps and m. So what is the relation between employee and manager? Manager is some type of employee, no, you are getting that, no. So I think this will be clear by seeing the options. So here everywhere you can see s and t, s and t, s and t, right? So this is like generic array you are using, because you are not specifying here. Yeah, if it is not generic, you can say emp array and manager, you can write here, but here you are seeing generics, no. That's why you need to use generic here. Whatever you can see, his first argument is emps and the second is manager. First one is employee and second one is manager. So so let us assume this is t, the first argument as t and the second argument as s. What is the relation between t and s? X extends T, no, because manager is extending employee, no, so that's why X extends T, right? Manager is subtype of employee. So our argument is also like first one is employee array and the second one is manager. So X extends T, right? So and you can see the first parameter is array and the second one is simple thing, nothing. It's just S, no. So S
Yes,
extends
ma'am.
the, yeah, and this is T array, you are saying ARR, and SSM here. Here you can see everywhere its first argument is ARR and second argument is M. So what you are calling here is M dot is equal. Does manager has is equal method? Yeah, it must be there because it is there in the employee also. Employee, that's why, because as it is child class, it will get that thing. And how can you say the employee is implementing verifiable, no? Employee is implementing verifiable, you should tell that also. The upper bound is like verifiable, or it must be some subtype of verifiable, that. So it, here it is like employee, no. Employee is like it is implementing a verifiable, that you should denote in your type parameter as well, no. So it extends verifiable, it can be verifiable or subtype of variable verifiable. So that's why this option will work. So we'll see whether the other options, why other options won't work. Static, boolean, find employee, array, this t array and s, this is clear. But the thing is, only the thing is between s and t. Here you can say, here you are telling s and t are of some type object. Here you are not giving any bounds here, right? Any bound, upper bound for s and t. But here you are using in your method, you are calling m dot is equal. So that means it will be replaced by object. Is equal method, equals method is there in object, but is equal method is not there in object. So if you say m dot is equal, then it won't work, right? So the whatever here, they should be. So the thing is like whatever your class here, employee class is implementing verifiable interface that you should mention for the in your type parameter, and manager is extending your employee class, that also you should indicate that why this the correct one is this one. You can check by keeping the other options as output, as function headers, and you can check what output you are getting. Okay. So why is equal won't work? Because compiler, the compiler will think it is like object, and object doesn't have is equal method. That's why it is out. It won't give output. So t extends verifiable and t extends s. This is like you are using same name, and s is like you have not defined what is s also. So this also will give error. Like tt you cannot give, no, you cannot give same, like in text you cannot give in the same function, no, as argument. That is happening here. Yeah, you can check the remaining options also why they won't work. Okay, I told this one, no, s and t is equal method won't work, and t and x extends t. So you are telling this is object, and this is some subtype of object, but same is equal method is not there in your this thing. That's why, yeah, this also will give error. This I don't know. T extends verifiable and T extends is, yeah, that is like both you are saying this is T and this is T, and S also you have not told anything about the S here. So yeah, yes, it doesn't know what S is. That's why it will give error. This simple, this is like whatever you have seen here. This int you cannot use because it is like type parameter. X is a type, this you are passing here, no, for this X. Yes, like you are calling single argument constructor, no. uh, this will take just what reference type, integer, float, or double, or anything, but you cannot here. This is X is int array, this primitive array, you cannot pass that. That's why it will give error. And string you cannot take because string doesn't extend number, so that also won't work. And this type also, this type of notion also doesn't work. You should declare the array first, and then you can pass. This is like invalid syntactical thing. This is not syntax, not the appropriate syntax, no. In order to call, so you should call the constructor, no. Your example has single parameter constructor. You are not passing anything to your constructor, and you are giving it outside. That won't work, no. Because no constructor with zero arguments. That's why. Yeah, this is on like get methods, whatever you have seen reflection part. Here the thing is, this is a sample Java code here. This sample class, this is the class sample, and yeah. So what should be the state here? No need to worry about the code. This is like pseudo code only. Nothing will be there related to that code. What should be the lines in should be the statements in line 1 and line 2 respectively, such that the succeeding for loop prints the types of all the parameters of all declared constructors in the sample class. Okay, you want to know the type of parameters of all the declared constructors of your sample class. So first you will check for the constructors of your class. How to get all the constructors of your class? By saying C dot get constructors. Previously you have seen this very much, like class C is used to store the information of that particular class object. This is like sample class object, you are storing the information in C. And if you say C dot get constructors, then it will give all C dot, you need only declared constructors, it is mentioned, no? So you need to use C dot get declared constructors, and it will return a constructor array. So you are referring it by some constructor array my const, because it is used in the enhanced for loop, no? That means you are iterating over this constructor array. How to get the parameter types? By calling the get param types, parameter types, that is method. By getting, by what, calling that method, you will get the parameter types of your constructor. Yeah, this is like direct only, these all things are direct. If you know what method will give the declared constructor, then you can simply use that method and you can get the constructors. And on that constructor, like for, like there will be like how many constructors here? Okay, here there are many constructors, no? This is a constructor, this is also a constructor, three constructors. So for all the three constructors you need to know the parameter type, so you need to iterate over the array. So yeah, that is you are doing here, and then you are getting the parameter types of each array, and then you are printing those parameters. Get parameter types also will return you an array. So here just these two statements are for printing that parameter types only. Okay, if you want to print only the private instance variables of the sample class, which code you should use? So you need to print the instance variables. So in order to print the instance variables, you should, so c dot get fields, it will give only public instance fields, not private or anything. It will give, it will give, it will give public, protected and everything other than private it will give. Okay, but in order to get everything of your constructor, then you should use get declared fields, and it will give all the fields. But how can you filter, like how can you get only private only, no? If you want to print only the private instance variables of your sample class, then which like only private things you want. So out of public, out of everything, you have like, here you have every instance variables other than private, here you have all the things, private is also included. So you will check, you can check, no, whether this is whether you can check whether this field 1 is present in field 2. If it is present, then it won't be like private, no, it will be public only, right?
So
this,
Nalini, sorry to interrupt. So basically, whatever are there in fields 2, which are not there in fields 1, right? That's
yeah,
it, no?
yeah,
Yeah, the other direction you don't have to see, because then the other side you will have many functions from the objects as well. That you don't have to worry. So one direction you have to see, something like fields 2. So if you see the set difference, right? I don't know if you've heard of set difference, but more like whatever are there in fields 2, set difference, whatever are there in fields 1. So that will basically be the private methods.
okay, yeah. So what you are doing here is, like, I will open the correct answer and then I will say other why other options are wrong also. So get fields will give everything other than private, it will give everything including private. So you should check which are not there, which are not present in field 1, which are present in field 2 but which are not present in field 1. So how can you do that? So you are just, in order to convert arrays to list, you can use this function arrays dot as list. To convert arrays to function, it will, you can use that. So fields 1, you are field 1 you are converting to and list, and you are checking whether this is like, you are iterating over each and every element of your fields to field 2, and you are checking whether this is present in field 1. Field 1 will have only only like excluding private, it will have everything. Here you will have all. So you will check whether uh, whether this field 1 is present in field 2. If it is not present, only then we should, then that is private, no? So that means if that you are taking this it as bool value, because it is a contains dot contains method, it will give the bool value. So it will give true if it is present. If it is not present, it will return false. So whatever, it will return false only for private instance variables. So in that case, you will check while iterating only, you will check whether bool is false or true. If it is false, then you are adding it to your private fields, and you are printing that name, the name of that instance variable. That's what you are doing. This is simple. This is like so okay, the thing is, the basic thing is, you should check whether fields whether this is present in field 1 or not. If it is present, if field 1 is present in field 2, that means it is not required for us. If it is not present, then only it is required. So you are checking for false case, and then you are adding to it to your array. Okay. So this is wrong because you are checking for true case, then it won't be correct, no? Here also it is wrong because you are checking for true case. You are using the same condition, but you are checking for the true case. But here you are checking whether this private things is also present in this. You are doing alternative way. You are checking like whether fields 2 is present in fields 1. Okay. So what you have done is, you have converted all your like public, private, everything instance variables to this list, and you are checking whether this is present in F1. Okay.
Ma'am, what is that as list method doing?
It will convert your array to list, as list.
Okay. Okay, ma'am.
Okay. So it will have big list, and you are checking, it will have some big list of elements. You are checking in this for each and every element. Right, that is false. You are checking whether this big list is present in like you are iterating over F1, and you are checking for the big list. This is like the wrong way of doing it. Whether fields 2 contains F1, like what we discussed previously is like we should check for the variables. We should check whether this private variable we should get only this private things. How can we get whether this is whether they are whether field 1 is present in field 2 or not? You will check that. You should check, no, whether field 1 contains field 2, you will check. But here you are checking in the other way, that is like wrong. Yeah, you can just check that. You will get these options very easily. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, this is like kind of, I think
Yes,
you haven't
so
got
that
much.
question, that question is basically just playing around with, the set containment, and then the whatever Boolean works, like whether it is true or false, just combining all those combination permutations and all that. So simply said, it is just looking at the declared fields minus whatever there is in the other one. That's it. So I mean, when you are doing a list, you have to iterate through the list and see whether one contains the other. So that's all what it is doing. Nothing very fancy about that question. In fact, the whole of reflection in itself is new. There is nothing much conceptual about it. It's all mostly, what you can do on the class, and these are the methods available if you want to just try around, work it around, and all that. So nothing too much conceptual and more difficult to understand or anything in reflections as such. Any other questions? Okay. So Nalini, I think if we don't have any, we can wind up the session.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think like it is not clear. I think most of you have still might have some doubts. Yeah, because you have not watched the lecture. Please watch the lectures. and then I think you will understand better. Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, correct. So just watch the lectures, and if you still have questions, like if any of these questions that you already discussed, if there are issues, just let us know in the discourse. I mean, most of your fellow learners are answering those questions themselves, right? So in case that's not possible, just ask us in the next live session also. That's also okay. And somebody had asked if we can discuss the quiz question paper. Let us wait for the answer key. I don't know if you've already seen the answer key. Just go through the answer key. And maybe we'll take it up in the next session. If you want to discuss any specific questions, we will see. Otherwise, post in the discourse, because if we take another session to discuss the quiz questions, then the week 6 again we'll need to have an additional session and all that. So today we had this additional session because on Saturday we had the revision session, right? So we wanted to complete the week 5 questions. We had this separate session for week 5. So instead of having a separate session, post it in the Discourse so that more people can also interact and respond to your questions. We'll also get to have a feel of how people are finding the difficulty level of question. If we simply discuss a solution here, probably we won't be able to get a realistic feedback. So just go through the answer key once you get it, and if you still have a question, please post the Discourse. Okay. Yeah. So I think we'll wind up the session. So Nalini, thank you very much. And thanks everyone for joining us. And please keep asking questions like this, because we learn a lot more than what we start off during the session when you keep asking these questions, things which we may not have really thought about. And all that. Okay, so thank you very much for this interactive session. We'll join tomorrow again at 4. 6, right? Yeah. 6.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Thanks everyone. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, bye.